Terrorism, art, and public money. That is the topic of tonight's byline. Should the public or our elected officials have a say in how tax dollars are spent on artwork? Most artists would say no. They want their art free of politics, at least a politics that might say, hey, we're not going to pay for that. Now, I ask because of an art exhibit that in my view glosses over and somewhat glorifies terrorists. Not terrorism in general in any generic sense, but specific terrorists responsible for killing actual people. This was all flagged by Israel's ambassador to Canada, Raphael Barak, who was at Ottawa City Hall for an event and spotted the display. He notes several people that Israel has cited for specific terrorist attacks, including Abu Iyad, the chief of the Palestinian Black September movement, responsible for the 1972 Munich Games massacre, the one that killed 11 Israeli Olympic team members and a German police officer. They then went on to several other international terror attacks and hijackings. There's Dalal Mughrabi, a PLO militant, died in her own hijacking operation of a civilian bus in 1978. It's known as the Coastal Bus Attack, killed 38 people, 13 of them children. That's just the start of it. Barak also cites Abu Jihad, a co-founder of Fatah and the man that Israel credits for starting the targeting of civilians in hotels or, let's say, on buses. There's Shahida Abu Ghazela, a female operative. She died in 1968 when the bomb she was prepping for an attack on Tel Aviv went off accidentally. Zuhair Moshin, who's said to have played a role in the Damour massacre in Lebanon's coastal town in 1976. That resulted in more than 300 Lebanese Christians dying. Then finally, there's Khalid Nazal, the secretary of the Central Committee of the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine. He was commander of the military branch responsible for the attacks in Malat, Beit Shean, and Jerusalem in the 70s and 80s. That's a pretty extensive list of terrorists to have in just one art exhibit. I went down to Ottawa City Hall to see this for myself. None of it's mentioned. Instead, you have a series of images going by on screen. Pictures are shown, faces. They pass by briefly. Occasionally there's text, sometimes English, or I think it's Arabic that flashes by as well. If you can read the text, you're sometimes told that someone was killed, assassinated by the Israelis. You're never told that, well, that might have happened, say, because of 38 people killed on a bus or the 11 athletes murdered in Munich. Artist Rahab Nazal calls this installation a work of memory. Well, if it is, it's a selective memory. People are honored, remembered. Their crimes simply erased. This is what precious tax dollars should be devoted for on public art? I don't really think so. The exhibit is housed in Ottawa City Hall at the city-run Karsh Masson Gallery. The city sponsors the gallery, pays for the gallery, houses the gallery. The Provincial Ontario Arts Council is also a sponsor, as noted on the back of the program. So there's a lot of public money going into this. But the city claims they don't back the views of this exhibit, and they posted a sign on the door saying so. But at the same time, they put the money into it. They provided the space. That is an outright endorsement, and one that Israel's ambassador does not appreciate.
I was shocked because I saw the photographs of terrorists, Palestinian terrorists who killed, assassinated in München in the Olympic Games, our sportsmen and children in Maalot school and other places. And there was no reference to that. I look into the brochure, and the brochure speaks about these people as writers, activists, and I feel that it's important that the Canadian public opinion will be aware that those are arch-terrorists, people that kill civilians, and in a way this exhibition is glorifying terrorism.
I think Ambassador Barak has an excellent point. The city claims they cannot take the artwork down because that would violate the charter. I doubt that. The city would not be saying, look, you can't say this. They would just be saying, we will not house this exhibit. But let's say that they're correct. If that's the case, it brings us back to the main problem. Artists and their politics. They love these arm's-length independent juries so that all the politics, except their own, are taken out of the equation. There's no way that this jury would accept a pro-gun art exhibit. No way that the city would even defend it if the artist jury did. There's no way there's going to be a pro-life art exhibit, no low-tax exhibits, nothing like that. There won't be any exhibit showcasing why Israel is right to do what they do to defend themselves. Quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of paying for political art that pushes left-wing, anti-Western, anti-Canadian agendas. It's time to say no. And that's the byline.